If Bigfoot's just a myth, then how do you explain this? A myth feels a lot more real when seen through the lens of a camera, as something massive moves through the trees, from deep in the forest, to national parks, to frozen mountaintops. Bigfoot has been spotted everywhere. What you're about to see is a collection of raw, unfiltered footage from some of the most talked about Bigfoot encounters on the internet. Every clip has been analyzed, debated, and dissected. Some have dark, disturbing backstories, while others' origins remain a mystery. But all will leave you wondering, how safe is it walking alone in the woods? Number 1. The charging shadow in Wisconsin. Over the past few days, we've been flooded with footage. Viewers, people just like you, sharing their terrifying encounters with creatures that defy logic and explanation. But one video in particular stood out. It was sent to us by a viewer named Mark, and what he captured is nothing short of terrifying. In July 2025, Mark was hiking through the dense woods of northern Wisconsin when he spotted something just a few steps away from him. A massive, bipedal figure, covered in thick, dark fur from head to toe, lurking silently among the trees. And the moment the creature locked eyes with him, it charged.
Where'd it go? Oh, there. Look at that. What the heck is that?
Mark had no choice but to run for his life, barely escaping the forest with the footage intact. But not all encounters happen from a distance. What does it feel like to have a Sasquatch staring straight into your soul in the dead of night? Number 2. The face in the window. It was a cold November night in 2024 when an anonymous camper captured what might be one of the creepiest Bigfoot sightings ever posted online. Through the darkness outside his cabin window, a large, shadowy face stared in, its features barely lit, with one eye catching the light just enough to reflect a faint, unsettling glow. The expression? Blank, motionless, like being frozen in place. As if that wasn't unsettling enough, the second image shared by the camper revealed the creature's features in even greater detail. A broad, muscular figure with a straight, expressionless face, glowing eyes reminiscent of a canine, and a body entirely cloaked in thick fur. What was it? A shadow playing tricks? Or something way more real than what we've believed to be a myth? Whatever it was, one thing's certain: it was terrifying, and remains one of the eeriest and unexplainable encounters ever. But some Sasquatch sightings out there are even more disturbing, and far less intentional. Number 3. Accidental sighting. On a quiet night in 2024, a trucker was driving through the woods with his dash cam turned on, casually recording what he thought was just the beautiful trail ahead. He thought he was alone, enjoying the peaceful calm and warm breeze of the early summer night. But then, the camera accidentally captures something deeply unsettling, something he wouldn't notice until he watched the footage later. Standing frozen behind the trees was a large, unnaturally tall, hairy figure, upright like a human, but far too terrifying to be one. Its faintly glowing eyes matched the Sasquatch we saw earlier, and its face looked more ghostly than alive. Number 4. The Riverbed Encounter. In this next clip, a man rides his quad bike over a shallow riverbed in a remote wilderness. His friend casually films the moment when suddenly, the unthinkable happens. A creepily tall, hairy figure emerges from the woods, crosses the river, and disappears back into the wilderness, completely unbothered by the two men. You might think it was just some wild animal from the forest. But this thing? It was anything but normal. It walked upright on two legs, tall, muscular, and huge. Everything about it matched the classic descriptions of Bigfoot. So, could it really be Bigfoot? Number 5. The Eerie sighting at Tricouni. In April 2014, two friends were hiking in the snow-covered mountains of Tricouni, Canada, when they suddenly noticed a huge, hairy figure walking below. The creature was bipedal, walking steadily across the snowy mountain. But what's strange is, it covered nearly half the distance in under 2 minutes, The deep snow and remote terrain didn't seem to slow it down at all. From that distance, it looked like a black dot with two legs trudging through the snow. But if it was a human, why was it entirely black and covered in fur? And if it was just an animal, like a bear, then why was it walking upright the entire time? This video, uploaded to YouTube a decade ago, remains one of the most unexplainable sightings on the internet. And to this day, no one, not even the men who recorded it, can say for sure what that creature was. But this wasn't the first time someone spotted a massive, fur-covered figure defying logic in the wild. Because decades earlier, deep in the heart of Yellowstone, another chilling encounter had unfolded, one that almost disappeared forever. Number 6. The Lost Yellowstone Tape. In the summer of 1988, deep within Yellowstone National Park, a lone hiker descending Mount Washburn stumbled upon something extraordinary, a towering, ape-like creature moving swiftly through the fog-covered forest. Alarmed yet intrigued, he captured a brief 10-second video before rushing to alert Ranger R. Buckley. The ranger, skeptical but duty-bound, followed the hiker to the site. What he found were massive, human-like tracks, 16 inches long, and a fleeting glimpse of the same creature, covered in dark fur and standing over 7 feet tall. Moments later, it vanished into the trees after leaping off a 30-foot ridge. Shortly after the encounter, Yellowstone was ravaged by historic wildfires. With over 1 million acres burned and national outrage mounting, the report, and the tape, disappeared. It wasn't until decades later that the footage resurfaced, hidden on a dusty VHS marked with the original case number, 452. Wildlife experts ruled out bears, elk, and moose. Nothing known to science fit the creature's size, movement, or prints. Some believe it was Sasquatch. But one fact remains. The hiker was never named, the ranger's report was buried, and the footage was never meant to be found. But strange things weren't confined to Yellowstone. In another corner of the wilderness, far from national parks and patrol logs, someone stumbled upon something far more disturbing. This time, it wasn't a blurry figure or a distant howl. It was a body. Number 7. The baby Sasquatch corpse. One day, a hiker was out on a trail, exploring the woods when he came across something he never expected, and it was downright creepy. As an experienced explorer, he'd seen plenty of unsettling things before. But this one was different. He recorded what looked like the corpse of a baby Sasquatch, partially decomposed with its body already starting to rot. The sight was seriously disturbing and weirdly lifelike. The hiker was convinced it was real. You could clearly see the shut eyes, the large mouth, the swollen belly, those long limbs, and an almost unnatural level of detail on the creature's body. And just when you think you've seen it all, along came a trail cam photo so strange, so unnerving, that even skeptics were left scratching their heads. Number 8. The Stretching Beast of Allegheny. On September 16, 2007, an infamous hunter named Rick Jacobs set up a trail cam in Pennsylvania's Allegheny National Forest, and what he captured that night would go on to become one of the most bizarre Bigfoot sightings ever. The image, captured precisely at 8:32 p.m., shows a tall and dark humanoid figure, completely cloaked in fur. It appears to be bending down with its hands placed on the ground. And if you think that's strange, just wait until you see the second photo. This one shows the same creature, but it looks like it's doing a full-on hamstring stretch. Seriously, what kind of wild animal walks on 2 legs and stretches like that in the middle of a forest, in the dead of night? Since the day they were released, these photos have been described as showing an unclassified primate. But anyone who sees them can't help but think the same thing. This has to be Bigfoot. The sheer eeriness of the images, the pitch-black forest, and that unnerving figure caught mid-movement make it one of the most bone-chilling encounters ever caught on camera. But even this experience isn't as haunting as the feeling that someone's watching you, maybe even following you, while you're camping alone in the middle of nowhere. Number 9. The Midnight Visitor at Banff. In September of 2023, 2 hunters were out on a bow hunting trip in the woods of Alberta, Canada. when they encountered something strange on the east side of Banff Park. One night, while camping, they heard strange noises echoing around their campsite. Thinking it was probably a bear sniffing around, they took all the usual precautions and set up a trail cam aimed right at their camp. They let the camera run through the night, and what it ended up recording was absolutely terrifying. At exactly 2:10 a.m., some movement triggered the trail cam, and just minutes later, something bizarre streaked across the frame, a sudden burst of strange light. And then, something even stranger appeared in the top left corner of the frame. A tall figure standing still and completely cloaked in shadow, its glowing eyes locked straight into the camera lens. Whatever it is, it's definitely not a bear. But this isn't the first time someone's trail cam picked up a pair of glowing eyes or a shadowy figure hiding in the dark. Number 10. The Hidden Watcher. A bizarre Reddit post shows what looks like a completely normal trail cam shot. A deer grazing quietly in the early morning hours, around 6 a.m. Still plants, quiet bushes. Nothing seems out of place. But then, you zoom in. Tucked behind the thick brush are two glowing eyes, staring directly into the camera. Not from the deer, not from any visible animal, just floating in the darkness, watching. What could it be? What kind of creature hides motionless in the woods, just as the sun is rising? Whether you believe these sightings are proof of Bigfoot's existence, hoaxes, or simply mysterious and unexplainable, one thing's for sure: you never know what might be lurking in the woods. Stay curious, stay safe, and keep your eyes open.